Every business deals with unhappy customers from time to time. Of course, it's important to minimize poor customer experiences. In a previous blog, we discussed how to respond to customer complaints and the value in turning a negative experience into a positive one. So today, let's examine some common examples of customer complaints and resolutions for the business owners dealing with them. Okay, complaint number one, the checkout process is just too long. Long lines can be a major pain, especially if your customers aren't anticipating the extra time. Studies show that most shoppers will abandon the store if the wait time is longer than 5 minutes. Customers might not directly complain about a line, but you will usually be able to tell if someone is dissatisfied with the checkout process. There are a lot of ways to cut down your average line time. Get more POS terminals to open up new lanes, add several tablet points of sale so that employees can open up a new terminal quickly, train your staff to ring up and check out smoothly, look at new POS systems that can process sales at a faster rate, especially if you have many daily transactions. A difference of 5 to 10 seconds can make a huge difference if the complaint is that your online checkout process is too tedious. And for online checkout processes, find a way to make the process easier and more intuitive. Watch out for excessive abandoned carts. This can mean your checkout process is pretty annoying. Common complaint number 2, you should offer modern forms of payment. Many retailers are now offering several different payment options for their shoppers. EMV chip cards, mobile payments through PayPal, Apple, or Android, and contactless tap and pay are all becoming more and more popular. And some customers expect to have all these options. If you don't accept these types of payments, you might hear the complaint that your store isn't convenient enough. It's not as simple as accepting just cash and cards these days. Fixing this one is pretty simple. Start accepting alternative forms of payment. Speak with your point of sale provider to get any necessary devices. If the software doesn't integrate, consider looking for a new POS solution. Speak with your credit card processor too to make sure that any new forms of payment can be processed and distributed. Another of the most common customer complaints for brick and mortar retailers is that the return process is difficult or limited. Perhaps a product cannot be returned, or you require a receipt upon return, or the return is only good for store credit. There are many variations of complaints in the return process. No matter the reason, take these complaints seriously. They can easily lose you customers. Improve your retail return process by favoring the customer. Even if you lose a sale, keeping a customer's experience positive will bring them back later. Most stores don't need to require a receipt anymore, especially if the payment was made on a card. It's easy to retrieve a prior sale through your POS system if the customer has the card with which they made the purchase. Just make your return policy clear and easy to understand. Complaint 4, prices are just too high. Pricing in retail is notoriously tricky. Margins are typically low, so being even slightly off with your pricing can lead to major issues. And with more competition than ever, your shoppers expect fair pricing. So most retail owners will hear a complaint about their pricing at one point or another. First, identify the issue. If you have room to lower your prices while still making enough of a margin on the item, then just lower your prices. If you notice that customers are complaining that online prices are cheaper, you may have an issue with showrooming. If this is the case, try to match prices when possible. If you're unable to match the price, look for ways to improve the customer experience that can help justify the higher price. If your shoppers aren't looking elsewhere for the product but still complaining about prices, revisit your store's pricing strategy. Consider adding special discounts, promotions, or loyalty benefits to keep your shoppers happy. The next common complaint is that your store is out of an item. Running out of a certain product now and then happens to all retailers, but if you're consistently 86th on multiple items, your customers will start to notice. Remember, there are virtually no products that someone can't go to a competitor for. And if you make it too difficult to come by, people will shop elsewhere. Likewise, you may just not carry certain products that your shoppers expect you to have. Listen for repeat questions or complaints and make changes when you notice a clear trend. For the latter issue, the solution is simple. Order any appropriate additional products that customers are demanding. The former problem can be a bit trickier. In this case, you'll need to improve your inventory management. Make sure that your POS inventory system is making this easy for you. Auto-ordering, inventory level alerts, and vendor management features will make it far less likely that you'll find yourself out of a product. Number 6, an item was not as advertised. This typically applies more to e-commerce retailers and brick and mortar shops. There are many complaints about products not being quite as advertised, and oftentimes the complaints are fair. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but it does mean that you should make some changes. Check out your product images and descriptions online. Make sure that you offer as much relevant information as possible. Encourage product reviews so that your shoppers can get a good idea of your product from other purchasers. Don't exaggerate the effectiveness or durability or performance of a certain item. Be honest with descriptions and promises. Complaint number 7 surrounds your customer service. There's a lot that goes into great customer service and a lot that a customer might complain about. Perhaps an employee was unpleasant in dealing with a question or unknowledgeable about a certain item. The most common complaints surrounding customer service are over an attitude or irritated demeanor from an associate. One bad interaction with an unpleasant employee can mean a customer will never return. Even worse, they're likely to tell their friends about the experience. Others will leave a poor review online, meaning that the negative experience reaches even more people. So it's critical to react quickly to minimize damage. If you're in the store, speak directly with the customer and let them explain the issue and how the situation might have been better. If not, find a way to reach out to them after the fact. Apologize, offer a gift or discount, and promise that they will have a better experience the next time around. And lastly, common complaint 8, customer support is too slow. Keeping up with customer support and the steady stream of questions and concerns can be a monumental task. It gets harder when your business takes off and you're more busy too. And many businesses hear complaints that their support or customer service contact is too slow or too hard to reach. So don't be discouraged if you hear the complaint. Just focus on finding ways to improve the problem. Consider adding more people to your support team. Support jobs are difficult and take a lot of training, so take your time finding someone who wants to stay long-term and grow in your company. You might also look at creating new avenues for your support. Add different channels of communication such as text, email, or chat. We all want to speak with someone on the phone when we have an issue, but it's the most labor-intensive on a business's end of things. Finally, add manuals or FAQ sections to your website to encourage your customers to troubleshoot issues before contacting support teams. To find out more details on what your support is lacking, add a short optional survey at the end of support calls or chats. So I know there are surely plenty of other types of complaints that you could add to this list. If you have some, mention them in the comments section. Dealing with difficult shoppers, just remember that cooler heads prevail. Handled correctly, you may have made a new regular shopper out of the situation. For more advice, check out our blog and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.